I like.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Welcome to the Students of Knowledge. As we were on last Thursday as well, and we will be this show will be running Monday to Thursday from 4 to 5, and you will be seeing students from Al Minhaj Institute, and they will be talking about various different topics, topics which impact all of us in one way or another. Today's topic is beauty. We are talking about beauty, and later we will go through the reasons for why we wanted to talk about this particular topic. I think it's something which is affecting all of us, and we all think about it, voluntarily or involuntarily. Voluntarily, people make you think about it, and even if you don't want to think about it, the environment could be such where you cannot avoid it. Also, as I was saying, that you will be seeing students from today, Monday, until Thursday. So remember to tune in to the Students of Knowledge. We will start the program now. So the topic is beauty, like I said. So first question, before we start, like I said, we will go through the reason for why we're doing this particular topic. So I remember that last week we were learning about the difference between ibadat and mu'amalat. And can you tell us the difference? Do you remember the difference?
I do remember the difference.
Of course.
Yes. Ibadat is, I think, relations between man and God.
Yeah.
So, for example, things like prayer, it's relations between man and God, and it's, in particular, just in regards to that. Whereas mu'amalat is relations between man and man. So, whether that's to do with, brother and sister, sister and sister, husband and wife. So that's how you separate the two.
Yeah, so I think one thing we realized after we started at Al Minhaj Institute is that Islamic education doesn't just consist of ibadat, it's also mu'amalat as well. So it's not just about, your prayers, your fasts, your zakah, your hajj, all of that. It's also about improving your relationships between people. And we wanted to talk about beauty because it is something, like I said, it affects the way we interact with each other and how we treat each other. And it can it's a big thing when, like when someone walks into the room, they're not talking, it's their physical appearance we are looking at. So we need to understand, and we need to know that we need to have the right attitude, so we're not judging people based on wrong criteria. So the first question that I have for you girls that we will be discussing is, how do you decide whether someone is beautiful?
Okay. Before we start, Assalamu alaikum
wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
And Ramadan Kareem to all of you. I hope it's the 5th Rosa today. So yeah, we need to stay strong.
Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell the listeners that these are Sister Aska and Sister Zaresha. They are from Al Minhaj Institute as well. So we all study there together. So Sister Aska, she's been on the panel before, right? Yeah, she was here last Thursday as well. And I think Sister Zaresha is the first time. Are you nervous?
No, I have
she's
my
never
sister's
nervous.
hair. It's fine.
How's Ramadan going?
Yes, Ramadan's been really, really good. I've been working at the same time, waking up early, not been getting enough sleep, but that's fine.
I think that's the story of everyone's life right now.
Yeah, I have exams. Please, everyone. I have
pray,
exams tomorrow.
Pray for her. Actually, pray for everyone, that everyone's
Everyone,
successful.
inshallah.
I think everyone's working so hard.
Yeah, GCSEs
and plus, I was thinking exams are during the month of Ramadan. So Allah Almighty, Allah, there's more blessings during this month.
Definitely.
So hopefully everyone will be collecting
Inshallah.
those blessings and automatically doing better in their exams. We just need to have that, faith and that beliefs. Yeah.
But it's so beautiful to see how young children or young adults or even teenagers in their GCSEs or levels, they have their exams, yet they want to fast.
That's true.
They have that feeling within them, we want to fast. If we want to fast, and if we do fast, then our exam paper would be easier.
They just have that
feeling.
attitude. You know what, we've all been there. I felt like that last year as well.
I still feel like that.
But if sometimes your parents are like, okay, don't fast, it's fine, doesn't matter, you have exam, but you're like, no, I want to fast. Like, if I'm fasting, you feel like you're protected in a way. So automatically you think that you'll do better. I think that's the beauty of this month. So we are talking about beauty, but we're talking about physical beauty. So how do you decide whether someone is beautiful?
For me personally, when I see someone for the first time, I interact with them, and I think initially it's really difficult for you to stop yourself from focusing on the physical aspect of it.
When you can't ignore it.
When you see someone for the first time, you do focus on the physical appearance only. But then as you get to know them, maybe even after 10 minutes, you can just tell the kind of a person that person is that you're talking to. If you get if you get the hint that they're not really putting any effort into you, or they're not interested in talking to you, if you get something like that, then you're automatically just like not attracted towards them anymore. You don't want to like take that any further. You're just like, that's it. That's enough. We've talked about for 10 good minutes. That's enough. We don't want to talk anymore. So for me, it's about interaction between people, the way you interact with others, and then based on that, you decide how pretty someone
beautiful.
is, how beautiful someone is.
What about you?
I also think that, and I think when you meet someone, you know, we like to idealize the thing that, you know, or never judge anyone based on their physical
appearance,
features. Don't look at that. But I think that's the first thing that we look at. In fact, even in, you know, colleges and schools, when we are preparing to go to, for example, interviews, they always tell us, oh, dress smartly, do this, behave in a certain way. And that's because it does have an impact. And
it is important.
Exactly. You can't overlook it.
You can't overlook
physical beauty is important.
To a certain extent.
Yeah. But I think it's that, you know, you need to be able to prioritize internal beauty and external, which is what we're going to go on to anyway. But for me, I think beauty is just about expression and human connection, which is what Sister Azka was saying as well. When you meet someone and you've spoken to them, if they have, you know, if they make a good impression on you because of, you know, their character or how they're acting, you'll automatically find them beautiful anyway. Whereas if, you know, there's that attitude in them, then you're going to be put off. So
I think I've experienced that as well. I've been talking to you guys about this as well. Like there's been people in past, like I've met them the first time, and not necessarily I wasn't like, you know, they weren't meeting the world's criteria of beauty. But as I got to know them, I automatically would, you know, I would be sitting there and I'm like, oh my God, she's so beautiful. And you know, you think that it's their physical appearance, but in reality, you don't realize it's their character. And because you've got to know their character, and that's what makes you think that they are beautiful. But I think your character has a big role to play in how people see you. So that should be the priority to start with.
And even if you think about it from a religious perspective, if you think about Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we haven't, even though he is the most beautiful of all, we haven't really seen him with our eyes. We don't know how exactly he looks physically. We have a description, but we don't know how exactly he looks. But we still love him. We love him for his character. We love him for his kindness, and his attitude towards other people, the way he spoke to them, and the way he was so merciful and kind. And
I think that's a very good point.
I think that's a very good point, because like you said, we haven't seen Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but we still, whenever we talk about him, we say he's beautiful, because we know his character in depth, and we understand it's his character which is affecting us, and we are impressed by. So I think character has a big role to play in that. So the next thing I want you guys to, next question is that, is it possible to define physical beauty? So can you set, like, okay, if to decide whether someone is beautiful or not, these are 5, 6, I don't know, number of things that one needs to have in them. So is it possible to define physical beauty?
I think the world does have a standard of beauty. You can't, as I said earlier, you can't overlook it. There are, you know, there are certain features which some, you know, are more pretty than other features. So you can't overlook that. And therefore, to answer your question, yes, I do think
that it can be defined.
But no one's to decide those features as being pretty. Like if you look at Asia, for example, they're it's not, I'm not being racist, but I'm like kind of struggling to say this because it's difficult. I'm not being racist, but if you look at Asia, like Asian countries, they focus more on fair-skinned people, because you know how it's nothing to do with them being pretty. It's just the fact that, because you know, in Asian countries they're not developed as much, so then people
they weren't developed as much in the past.
Or they weren't developed as much in the past. So people, they work outside, there's labor outside, like hard work they have to do outside of their houses, and then because of the sun they become they get this tan on them, and they and because that is related to poor people as well in some senses, so then they see that as being not beautiful. I don't want to use the word ugly, but it's not seen as something which is nice, and hence they prioritize people who are fair skinned. But if you come to Western countries, you see the complete opposite. Here people want to be tan,
and that is because, you know, tanning is related to going on a holiday. For example, when you go on a holiday, you get a tan, so it means you are automatically, you have money and all those things, so the status. So I think they have the same attitude, but in the opposite way to Asian countries in that sense.
So there is no like set standard of beauty. It just depends on the area that you live in or
your surroundings.
Yeah.
But to be honest, you know, the fact that there's so many definitions of beauty in different countries, that only goes to show that you cannot define beauty.
Yeah.
So you might feel like, oh, you know, I do not match any criteria of any country. But in reality, those countries, they're not even sure what's beautiful, because every human being is different. So no one is exactly the same as another person. So you will always be beautiful.
Exactly. And just to enhance your point, you know how we have fashion trends?
Yeah.
So I don't know, over different seasons or years, the fashion style changes.
Yeah.
And that further shows that you can never have set beauty.
Yeah.
It's always going to change, and that you can't. So everyone is beautiful in their own way.
Everyone is beautiful in their own way.
And as cliche as that sounds.
And obviously, I think it takes time for everyone to understand that.
Yeah,
so people sometimes, you know, people wouldn't understand that, and they need it's a matter of self-growth, so and self-acceptance. So I think sometimes it can take a long time for some people, whilst other people might, you know, they might understand it straight away. So I think we'll carry on with the discussion, but before that we'll take a short break. So make sure you keep listening to Students of Knowledge. We'll take a short break here and we'll be back, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
We've got a range of desserts, including our trademark shakes in all your favourite flavours. We're based at 400 Cranbrook Road in Gants Hill, so come down to dine in or order in on Uber Eats or Just Eat. Amigos, hats off to great burgers.
Ramadan FM 2018,
the voice of British Muslims.
Hey, tenu we wari aake aita cricket na khelya kar, to fir window punch ho rahi hai.
Don't worry, Dad. Our windows need changing anyway.
हाँ तो पैसे तू दे से ना.
Nah, don't worry, Dad. UK Windows will sort it out.
UK Window? Oh, कौन है ना?
They're the best double glazing company about. They do windows, patios, French doors, sliding doors, UPVC, aluminium, you name it, they've got it. We can go see them at 51 to 53 Upton Lane, Forest Gate E79PA, or call them at 07984 440 093, or visit ukwindowslondon.co.uk.
वाह जी वाह, ये तो कमाल है यार. UK Windows
Zindabad.
Thinking about selling or letting your home? With Maxwell Estates, you don't need to look any further. Well established with over 15 years of experience, Maxwell Estates are specialists in residential sales and lettings. We manage over 200 properties in and around Northwest London, keeping our landlords and tenants updated with all the latest laws and legislations. Based in Edgware, our experienced specialist negotiators always ensure we maximise the full potential of your property. Call us now on 0208 952 0808 for a free no obligation quotation, or visit our website www.maxwellestates.co.uk for further information. Maxwell Estates, the name you can trust.
With over 25 years experience in the East London area, there's no better firm to rely on than Cameron Adams Century 21 when it comes to properties. Be it lettings, property management or sales, we can assist you to ensure you get the most out of your property. Contact us on 0208 558 2000 for a free, no obligation valuation, and watch us do what we do best.
Welcome back to Students of Knowledge. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
We have just been joined by Sister Vaniza. Assalamu alaikum, Vaniza.
Wa alaikum assalam, Baji Aisha.
Vaniza is also, she's studying with us at Al Minhaj Institute. How's Ramadan going, Vaniza?
Oh, Ramadan is going really well, alhamdulillah. The days are actually going quick, but today was a bit hard. But I'm still going strong.
Vaniza, if you could move the mic to closer so we can hear you, and try to speak louder so we don't miss your important words.
Yeah, alhamdulillah, it's going really well. Yeah, but today was a bit hard, but we're still going strong.
Yes, that's good, alhamdulillah. That's the spirit. And Vaniza just came from school, right?
Yeah.
So commitment levels are very high, like I said last time as well. Vaniza was in school, she came straight here just so she could be part of this discussion. Guys, do you want to say something? You know how in Al Minhaj Institute we learn different topics?
Yeah.
So do you want to say your favorite topic out of what we've been learning? So you know, our listeners, they get an idea of what is it that we study here.
Yeah.
Also, along with obviously the discussion we're doing the discussion on beauty, as I said earlier. But what's one of the topic which you enjoy learning about?
My favorite topic is tafsir.
I was going to say that.
She's copying me.
Okay, I'll explain why I like tafsir first.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm copying you. Okay, so I like tafsir because you get to, first of all, you get to learn the meaning and you get to understand it and you get to act upon it and you get to learn the beauty of the meaning as well,
yeah,
which is really good.
I think that's very important to understand. Yeah. And obviously we're understanding it from, from authentic source. Yeah. So we understand it in an accurate way rather than in a wrong way, because believe me, before we started these classes, like I said last time, when I used to open the Quran and I would just read a verse and I'd be like, okay, it's for me, I understand it. And obviously that's the completely wrong approach. Yeah. And we only understood that now after we joined this class. So Zavisha?
Yeah, mine is also tafsir, and for a very similar reason, and also because I think it's probably because of how Allama Sahib explains it as well.
Yeah.
He always links it back to practical things and how you can use it in your own life. And I think that's really, really useful. I mean, all the other topics are really good as well. But with tafsir, I remember that one thing he taught us was, how to deal with people. So,
he always tells us examples that we can relate to.
Yeah. Exactly. And I think that's really useful in your practical life, which is, what we are living at the end of the day, and we need to improve. So that's why that's my favorite topic.
Yeah, and he always links it to, today's time.
Exactly.
So it's not just, that doesn't just apply to when it was revealed, but so we understand it. And I think that was the reason for why we wanted to do these topics, because we were encouraged by Allama Sahib and obviously, Al-Minhaj Institute, everyone there, they wanted us to talk about something that we can relate to and that the listeners can relate to, and that's an issue in today's time. Sister Aska?
They've already taken the good ones.
Did you enjoy that as well?
I do, but I would like to say that one thing that we talk about time and time again is the correlated study.
Yeah.
That is, specific, that is my favorite
topic.
Because I feel like it clears so many doubts in your head.
Yeah.
So correlated study, whenever we talk about correlated study or we discuss anything to do with it, I really enjoy that bit.
So, if, for all the listeners, obviously not everyone knows what that is. So could you just quickly tell us what that is?
It just means okay, I should
test it, surprise test.
So basically, when let's say you're reading a verse of the Quran, from one chapter of the Quran, and then later on you find another verse relating to the same topic, but it's not in exact same chapter. So it's in two different parts of the Quran. So you have to be able to link those two together to make complete sense of the topic. So let's talk about divorce, a very common example that we use within our classes.
Yeah.
Divorce? Oh no, idda.
It's okay.
Still student.
Okay, yeah, idda.
Allama is watching.
Yeah, he must be like, Askamaji, I had higher hopes in you.
So idda, for example. Initially, it was
1 year. 1 year, and then later it was 4 months and 10 days. But it's in two different parts of the Quran. If you only read one section of it, you wouldn't know the other ruling. However, we are linking into law of abrogation over here.
Let's not go into that. I just wanted one topic that you enjoy the most.
What's your favorite topic?
What? Favorite topic? I think I like learning Arabic grammar.
Really?
Yeah, I enjoy that. The Friday classes when you're learning about Arabic grammar, I really like that. And when I'm later when I'm reading Quran or listening to people reading Quran, you're able to identify words and you're, that's mudaf ilayh. Oh, I recognize that. So it's such a good feeling. You're able to recognize it. Mm-hmm. So to be able to understand, the construction of words and sentences, and then be able to identify it later, that's fun part for me.
Yeah, and that way you can also tell that you're learning.
Yeah, and when you later when you look in you're reading Quran and there's words or verses and you're like, I understand that grammatically, even if you don't understand the meaning. That's the fun part. I like looking for that. Okay, so going back to our topic. So Vaniza, we were talking about beauty before you came. Right now the question is, how important is physical beauty? Do you completely, how the importance of internal beauty is emphasized all the time? Mm-hmm. Does that mean that physical beauty doesn't matter at all?
I don't think so. I think, physical beauty is important as well, because as I said earlier, your first impression is very important. But when I say physical beauty, it's very subjective. It depends on what you see as beauty. So for some people, it might be having your hijab done in a certain way, or having certain type of lips or your nose or whatever nose job done, you see that as beauty. Or if you see someone being as the simplest of the in a simple abaya, black scarf, and they're wearing that, you see that as beauty. So it's very subjective. When I say beauty, I don't really mean that it's only.
Yeah, we're using this word, but this word it's quite vague. Like beauty, what
do you see beauty as? So it just is very like based on individual people.
Yeah.
So very subjective. So yeah, for me personally, I'll talk about myself, of course.
Personal experience.
For me personally, I feel like not in the sense that you have to have the best physical features for me to talk to you. It's just you have to be welcoming.
So basically the internal beauty, the character of the person. I feel like all of these questions, at the end of it, the point that we're trying to emphasize the importance of internal beauty because that's what matters at the end of the day. So girls, what about you? What did you think? Is it important?
I recently learned this from my brother.
Yeah.
He told me that you should never sort of judge people based on their physical actions and always look at their intentions.
Well, your brother told you that?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you can't believe it.
And
I know, unbelievable.
Their intentions matter more. So, and he also told me that you can have difference of opinion with people, and that will mean that I think I'm going a bit off topic from beauty, but I think it's an important message, so I'm still going to say it.
Okay.
That even if you're having a difference of opinion with two people, it doesn't mean that you are against them. You look at their intentions, and if they're good at heart, then it shouldn't matter. Anything else doesn't matter as long as they're good at heart. So again, coming back to Sister Aska's point, I think internal beauty and internal, a pure heart is what beauty is. So
yeah, I think going back to her point, you shouldn't judge people.
Yeah.
Because if somebody, in your terms of what you see, if somebody's beautiful, they might look beautiful but not beautiful from the inside. Otherwise there's people might be beautiful from the inside and not beautiful from the outside, so we shouldn't judge.
Yeah, but like Sister Aska was saying, and I think all of you did mention that point, physical beauty, obviously I think it is important in the sense that it matters to every single person. So every individual has thought about it at some point in their life. We all stand in front of the mirror and we look at our face.
Yeah.
Because it's quite difficult to look inside people's hearts. Sister Vanessa was also saying that. So you only see your face. So you also care about beauty, and when you care about it, then it becomes a matter of interest, and it's something that needs to be discussed.
Yeah.
So physical beauty does matter, but I think, like you guys said, the character and the internal beauty takes over.
That overcomes everything else.
Yeah.
But physical beauty in the sense that at least you have to be clean. When you see something, you have to be presentable, because we are all Muslims. And when, let's say, we live in a Western country, and here we see non-Muslims as well.
Oh, we have a call. We'll take the call.
That's fine. You can take the call.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Who are we talking to?
This is Noor calling from London.
Assalamu alaikum, Noor. How are you?
I'm good, alhamdulillah. How are you? How's Rosa going?
Yeah, it's going well, alhamdulillah.
I'm a bit hungry today, but
Me. I just wanted to say you guys are doing an excellent job, and I think the topic is really important because this topic is not given much focus on in today's society, and I think you guys are doing a great job in explaining, in fact, what beauty is and how vague it is, because beauty matters on every individual perception, because there's no right answer to what beauty is.
Yeah, that's right. I think that's why we wanted to discuss this topic as well, because we don't really talk about it, especially the physical aspect. We don't really mention that as much in a religious environment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask a question. Aisha, you said that at the end of the day, internal beauty counts. But what would you say to those people who don't understand internal beauty? Because some people, it takes a lifetime to really understand what internal beauty is, and they just focus on physical beauty. So what would you say to them?
Yeah, we'll discuss that question as well. I've just included that in the list of the questions. Thank you so much for calling. That was very encouraging. Jazakallah.
You guys are doing a great job. Well done.
Allah Hafiz. Allah Hafiz.
That was a very good question.
Yeah. You need to be able to define internal beauty as well. She's got a good point.
Yeah. So she was saying, you know how we were talking about it earlier, that for some people they don't even understand the concept of internal beauty because they're literally in this world where they only care about the physical aspect. So how would they learn the importance of internal beauty?
Just Zarisha, do you want to go first?
Yeah. So I think I don't think we can separate internal beauty from the concept of beauty, because when you're meeting someone, I think I said this initially when you asked what is beauty. When you meet someone, you're always gonna be initially for a good for 5 minutes you might be attracted to their physical beauty, how they look, and that's why you've approached them and you're speaking to them. But over time you're not going to be attracted to them any longer if there is not that element of friendship, that care and that love in them. And
I think all of us can say that there's been that one person in our lives who was beautiful at first glance when you saw them the first time, but later you were like, I can't be bothered. This is too much, because their character is not beautiful, but it's only their face.
I think personality matters more.
And that is personality, I think, is part of your internal beauty. So to answer Sister Noor's question, you can't separate the two. And it's always there.
And if someone doesn't understand the importance of internal beauty, I think that's something they have to learn. It's a learning process. I think for everyone, we all have to learn that it's your character at the end of the day that matters. If you only care about physical beauty, you will end up with you will end up in this fake world where all the people around you are fake, and you are just basically contributing to that fakeness of the world, as I always say. So
this actually goes back to education. We need to
importance
really
of
instill that within our kids. So parents, they have that responsibility to tell their kids that internal beauty is more important. So when they're young, that's when they're learning about beauty, or learning about being good, or learning from their social environment. So especially teenagers, they go outside, they see their friends, some of them, they dress up in a certain way, they want to dress up like that, or they look at celebrities and they want to dress up like them. They see that as beauty because they have no other guidance or no other definition of beauty from anywhere else. So they need that resource from any other place. It could be their mosque, it could be their house, their parents. Of course they spend more time with their parents, so it's the parents' responsibility to educate them in a way that they understand what the difference between the internal and external beauty. So,
and I think
I really
because most kids are like these days, they're like influenced by social media and things.
And I think I wanted to say something related to that, is that just because something is popular doesn't mean it's the right thing. So your right and wrong don't change over time based on what is popular at that particular time. So beauty trends, you might not match those beauty trends, you might not match those models in the magazines and TV, but you don't have to match those models and those people on the TV, because what beauty is, it remains like, it's individual, like we said. It depends on the person, and just because it's popular doesn't mean that that's the right way. But when you're in the environment, especially in schools, you'll see this popular group of people, and they dress up a certain way, and that's considered beautiful. And you kind of get you'll think, I'm not beautiful because I'm not part of that group. So it goes into like, just because that's popular doesn't mean that's beautiful. You might go in another place and what you are might be considered beautiful.
I think doing your own thing is the most beautiful way.
Individuality is beautiful, your own characteristics and stuff. So I think the next question is that if you are religious, does that mean you completely overlook physical beauty? For example, if you're religious, many young people, also in terms of Islam, there's the word extremism has been linked to it in terms of all the aspects. So even in beauty, they think that if you're religious, no makeup, no mascara, your standard lipsticks, your makeup, your dressing up, and that's not allowed. If you're religious, that means a complete no. So many young people, I think they can get put off by this because they don't want to learn about Islam, or they don't want to practice it, because they think that if they get involved in Islam, people will start judging them, and people would expect them to look a certain way and not wear makeup, not dress up, because then they're like, oh, look at her, she's become this practicing Muslim, but she still puts lipstick on, because there are people who think like that, as weird as it might sound.
That's a really, really good question. And that also links back to Sister Azka's point about education. And just to answer your question, I think once you become religious, your definition of beauty will change. Like we said, it's very subjective anyway, but once when you become religious, I think the word religious is also subjective. But once you understand your religion, yes, you're going to see beauty as something else. So I don't know, you might see it as you might see beauty in simplicity, or you might see it.
But what did you girls think? If you're religious, can you still be worried or still take care of your physical appearance? Is that okay to do?
Of course you can. We do. I do. I'm not saying I'm like the most religious person on this planet.
But you're obviously all trying. Yeah.
I'm trying to work towards that. And I personally care about how I look. I try to make sure that I'm clean all the time. I'm presentable to people. When they look at me, the first glance, I wear a hijab and I represent Islam. So when the people look at me, I want to represent Islam in a beautiful way. So so my hijab represents Islam.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think through hijab, I would like to add that point. So when you're wearing hijab, you're trying to, we also want to give the message that it's our internal beauty that matters the most. Because at the end of the day, even though we're discussing all these, questions, but at the end of the day, we do want to emphasize the importance of internal beauty, and that is the priority. That's out of the two, that's what matters the most. And I think that's what hijab is. That's one of the messages that hijab wants to give itself. That it's your internal beauty. When I walk into the room, it's like you have to listen to what comes out of my mouth and understand that rather than how I look. We'll take a short break here and we'll come back. Keep listening to Students of Knowledge. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
835439 Reliance Solicitors, where every client matters.
Britain Solicitors in East Ham, the name you can trust. We provide services in immigration, family law, landlord and tenant matters, commercial leases and civil litigation. We also deal in personal injury claims and road traffic accidents. Call us on 0203 475 7845 or visit us at 62 Barking Road, East Ham, E6 3BP.
Ramadan FM 2018.
The voice of British Muslims.
Atlantic Distributions. Whether it is frozen fish, marinated Lahori masala fish or lamb offals, we have them available at very competitive prices. We are wholesale suppliers to restaurants, butchers and caterers. Visit us at 51 to 53 Upton Lane, London E7 9PA. Contact us on 07415 474 185.
Usman needs the adhesive to work. If not, his day will be a disaster. So, Usman, if you really need something to bond, grab a tube of CT1 from your local stockist. An incredibly powerful sealant and construction adhesive that's fast, flexible and strong. It can be used anywhere, even underwater. For more info, ct1limited.com or follow us on Facebook or ring us on 0208 555 1448.
In an age of technological advancement, mass communication and social media, having the right website and app can be the difference that your business needs. AppSite Tech are here to take your business to the next level. No matter how simple or how sophisticated your requirements are, our technicians will work with you to create a bespoke website and app for your organisation. Call us now on 07538081212 or visit appsitetech.co.uk and book your free consultation now.
Amigos, the signature name when it comes to burgers and shakes. Our succulent burgers are prepared in front of you while you wait. Whether you go for the 6-ounce Mexican or the 10-ounce Texan, or you decide to go for our messy fries or buffalo wings, one thing you're guaranteed is quality. We've also got a range of desserts including our trademark shakes in all your favourite flavours. We're based at 400 Cranbrook Road in Gants Hill, so come down to dine in or order in on Uber Eats or Just Eat. Amigos, hats off to great burgers.
Ramadan.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to Students of Knowledge.
Yeah, I think before we continue, it's important to point out our mission.
Yeah. One thing that we're trying to achieve during this month.
Yeah, I think that's a better way to put it. We've been awarded a full-time FM license by Ofcom.
Yeah.
And we have, we have all the things that we need, but we require a little bit more equipment. And our target for that is £50,000 that we need to reach by the end of Ramadan.
Yeah.
And every little helps. So if everybody could contribute, it doesn't matter how much it is, we need to get that equipment, because as we were, we've come here today to discuss the topic of beauty, and it's, the purpose is so that today if we give a definition of beauty in the future, future generations wouldn't have to come sit here and talk about beauty. And last week, I think you guys were discussing confidence.
Yeah.
They shouldn't have to come and sit here and discuss confidence. They should just,
it should be something that comes to them naturally.
Yeah. So with this platform, it's a very, very good platform, and we need to, we're looking to improve it. So that's
and anybody who wants to be a journalist or they want to get to bigger channels, this is where they have to start. They have to get
I think, like you guys are saying, it's an opportunity for young people in this community, and I think this radio is the one of its kind in East London. There is none other Muslim radios which have been granted the full-time FM license. So I think since we've been given that license, we have to really make sure that we make the most of it. So like Sister Zarisha was saying, that we need £50,000, and rather than asking particular people to give big amounts, we're gonna distribute it over a larger number of people. If more people contribute, it means that there will be less amount that they have to contribute. And obviously remember, you're giving it in the way of Allah. Allah Almighty is going to give you a reward of it, and that's our ultimate purpose, to gain the pleasure of Allah. So what were you saying?
And also the target is that if we can get 500 people to donate £100 each. So £100 is nothing. If you earn, most people, they do go over. I'm not saying that you earn this much money, but most people, they do earn between 16k to 18k. So £100, just giving £100, it's not even a monthly payment, it's just one-off payment.
And I think you need to understand the importance of what the difference that £100 is going to make to everyone's lives, and to you'll be making a difference to Islam in a bigger way, because in a bigger picture, because there will be so many young people who will be coming, and they will be gaining this experience, and these young people are the ones who are going to be talking about Islam in future. They need to have the right knowledge of Islam. So just like I was saying in another program the other day, that just having the content, just having the Islamic knowledge and joining universities and stuff is not enough. You need to have the experience as well. You need to know how to deliver that knowledge. And I think this platform will be amazing for all the young people. So all the parents, all the listeners who all they have to do is give £100, and I don't think that's a large amount considering the cause and considering what we will be achieving out of it. So we'll encourage everyone to please contribute.
And also it gives us a platform for Muslims to their voices to be heard from a Muslim channel, from a Muslim platform,
and they can say what they want to say, what the reality is.
You can visit our website or call on our donation hotline to
donate as much as you want. But obviously we are saying £100, 500 people giving £100.
That's not to say that you have to donate £100. If you have £10, that's already enough. It's in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it's in the best of the best months, Ramadan.
That's right. So going back, by the way, we have been joined by Sister Khadija. Assalamu alaikum, Khadija. How old are you, Khadija?
9 years old.
9 years old. So, linking back to the radio that we were just talking about, that we have, I'm sure our listeners, they've been listening to young people as young as Khadija, even younger, 4 years old as well, to like older people. So everyone has this opportunity, everyone has this platform at people of different ages, and it's great experience for everyone. So Khadija, if you could talk a bit louder so we can hear you, So if you could just move closer to the mic or speak louder so all the listeners can hear you. So Khadija, today we're talking about beauty. So at your age, 9, what do you think beauty is? What's the idea? If someone is beautiful, what do you mean by that?
I think there's two kind of beauties: beautiful on the appearance and one in the inside when your heart is beautiful. You shouldn't always you should make your heart beautiful as well as being beautiful on the outside. You might see someone really beautiful on the outside, but maybe they might not be as good in the inside.
That's right. I think
summarized everything that
summarized the whole 1 hour that we were going to talk about this topic.
Also, how Sister Noor called in and she said that how do people differentiate between internal and external beauty? This is exactly how you do it. You teach your kids.
You teach your kids
from a young age.
Khadija is only 9 years old and she understands it, and I think I only understood it last year. Like how we were saying at the beginning, it's like different points in your life that you understand, like especially in secondary school, physical appearance can take over your life. You can think that's the most important thing, and you would do all that's required to fit in, to look a certain way. So it's really a learning process and self-acceptance. Okay, moving on to the next question. Is beauty or physical appearance something, we don't want to leave out the boys. It's gender equality. We believe in that. So is beauty or physical appearance something that boys struggle with as well? Or is there equal pressure for them to look a certain way? Or is it just something that in regards to girls and women?
I think we're going to be biased when we're answering this question because... But I mean, we can try and answer it to the best of what we think they feel. But I think there is less pressure for boys.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Perhaps I'm wrong. I don't want to offend anyone. But I think there is less pressure. There's less expectation from them. So, if there's a brother and a sister and they have to leave the house. I think we can all, so all the things, the girls have to do when they're about to leave the house. Boys can just walk out the way they were just in bed, doesn't so
matter.
I think there's less pressure, but of course there is an expectation from every individual regardless of their gender.
Yeah.
We were discussing media earlier, so there's this perception that how men are supposed to look like as well.
Yeah, that's true.
They have expectations to meet as well, so we shouldn't overlook that.
I think boys do have pressure, because either way, like going to like a school nowadays, girls will judge boys how they look, and they will expect them to look a certain way.
Boys will judge boys as well,
that's true.
And group of friends.
I think they do have pressure sometimes. Like imagine there's like popular group with all the good looking boys, and there's just one there who is not physically
who feels like he's not physically
feels like that he's not as good as the other people, and he might have more pressure than he does from the other group.
I think it's obviously, we talk about the pressure on women a bit more in regards to beauty, but it is there for boys as well. So I think they also need to understand the idea of internal beauty. No one, it's your heart that matters. So if you look good and when you talk, you're not nice to people, you're rude, you're not kind, then obviously no one is going to be interested. Like the people like that, you don't want them around, and you'll end up lonely. It's bad consequences for you. So it's good for you to understand it as soon as you can, like your little Khadija understands at the age of 9.
I think it's also important to like pinpoint here that we always idealize internal beauty is very important. Like we've been linking all our ideas back to internal beauty. But we do overlook it. When you're in the situation, I think a lot of the times, although eventually it does kick in, because if someone is not treating you in the right way because they're not internally beautiful, you're going to be put off. But I think it's important that's something that everyone can develop. Like when you're in a situation, you should always, although it can be difficult, you should try not to judge someone based on how they look.
I think we can do it. It's just we feel like we can't do it in the situation, but we can. If you think about Ramadan, the same exact person who listens to songs throughout the year, in Ramadan they tell themselves, oh, it's Ramadan, I don't want to do it, I want to be a better person, I don't want to do it. So it's the same thing applies to judgment as well. When you're about to judge someone, just
you choose to judge, so you can teach yourself to not judge as well.
So just remind yourself that, I shouldn't be doing it, this is something wrong, I need to work on myself. And we all have faults in ourselves, so it's nothing wrong if you do that.
So Khadija, do you think it's good to judge people?
No.
It's not good to judge people. We shouldn't judge people. Have you ever judged anyone?
Putting her on the spot.
Because it is hard to not judge. I'm going to admit that. We've all done it. She has as well. So I think it's a matter of learning and growing and understanding it's wrong. And if you're about to judge someone, remind yourself not to. Because we can get into a habit of doing it. So we need to stop ourselves. The next question is, how are young people, I think we've been discussing it throughout, but specifically now for this time, how are young people affected by physical appearance and the pressure of looking a certain way?
That's a very big question.
That's a big question, and I think there's loads of answers to it.
It can affect kids from young age, like Khadija's age. Khadija's upbringing has been very different to the kind of people that we're talking about. But if we were to talk about people who are just focused on their external beauty, it can make them go in depression. They can go in depression.
Mental illnesses can.
It can really affect them physically, mentally. It can have a long-term impact on them in terms of how much confidence they have in themselves and how much of the opportunities they can grasp in the future. Their self-esteem can be affected by it. There are many effects that we can actually observe in young people.
Adding on to Sister Aska's point, I study psychology, and we have to, do a key question.
Yeah.
If any of my friends are watching, they'll know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But one of the key questions that we recently did was describe the effects of media on eating disorders.
Yeah.
And when we were explaining it using psychology, one of the concept was that you observe these role models in the media and you see them in a certain way, and you want to implement that because those people have higher status, those people have more money,
you want to be like them, basically.
Glamour associated with them, so you want to be like them, and so you start doing that to yourself. And there's a lot of eating disorders
because
a lot of people are suffering
because you want to be a certain way, or you want to look a certain
skinny,
way.
you want to lose weight.
Yeah.
So people stop eating and they end up just being like a skeleton.
So obviously that's in an extreme case where people develop mental illnesses. They become lonely because they don't want to go out. They don't like the way that they look. But your personal experiences. Have you ever felt like? Oh, I'm not beautiful. I think it's a feeling that can come into anyone, and I think everyone can feel like this. So have you ever felt like that? I'm not beautiful, or you didn't do something because you didn't feel like you were looking your best? Has that happened to you, personal experience?
Yeah, like sometimes I'll stand in the mirror and I would be like to myself, oh, I'm beautiful. Like I will accept myself, but sometimes I'm just look in the mirror and I'll be like, I'm not beautiful.
Yeah. I think it changes from day to day. Same with me. Sometimes I'm like, okay, I'm fine with myself. I'm the happiest person. But other days when I'm looking, I'm just like, oh my God. What happened today? I'm not feeling myself. Yes. Does that happen to you guys?
It does. I think... and as much as we try to not do it, it does happen. Like, when you're taking a picture, a selfie, you want to get the right angle because you want to look beautiful. Yeah. And that's because you might think in your head, whether that's psychological, or whether it's true, I don't know, a certain angle for you may, you might not think that I don't look nice in that particular angle, so I need to take my picture from here, or I need to take it from here. So yes, we do judge ourselves as well.
Yeah, we're not just judging others.
We need to remember that it's not our fault as well in some ways.
It's
not, because if you think about a circle of girls where you're sitting together, do you not see how much comparison there is?
Yeah, comparison.
We try to look better than each other. There's like competition. We're trying to look better than one another, and then that's what creates that feeling within us.
I think you're saying it's not our fault. It's not, and you can't say it's certain individual's fault, but together as a society, this is something that we are adding to, and we are increasing this pressure of looking a certain way. Like, for example, when you're sitting with your friends, outside you'll be preaching, it's your internal beauty that matters. But when you're sitting with your friends, you will be the same person discussing a certain girl and how she looks, and how even if she looks better or not as good as other girls. So we add to it. If you improve yourself, if you stop judging others, all of a sudden you've taken that responsibility. You'll be able to see the bigger impact if every single person takes responsibility for themselves and takes a step forward. Next question is, what is the importance of, I think we've been discussing this throughout, but do you think we preach internal beauty matters but do not practice it? So, we often hear the phrase that beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I think it just links to what we were just talking about. Yeah. That we say the beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but do we really mean it when we say it?
Just before we say that, can Khadija add a point? She's been trying to do it.
Sorry, Khadija, you should have just talked.
Any one point that you would like to say?
There's also a hadith that the Prophet Muhammad said, which is Inna Allah Jamilun wa yuhibbul Jamal.
Yeah.
Verily Allah is beautiful and He loves beauty.
Yeah, I think I was thinking about that hadith as well, that Allah Almighty loves beauty, so why wouldn't He create His creation to be the most beautiful? And all of us are Allah's creation. And I was talking about this last night as well, that I personally think that the word ugly shouldn't even exist, because how can you use this word for Allah Almighty's creation? Allah Almighty is the best of the creators, and He has created everyone. And like Khadija just beautifully read the hadith, and she told us that Allah Almighty loves beauty and He's beautiful. So why would He, His creation is supposed to be the most beautiful, because if the Creator loves beauty, He would make sure that His creation is the most beautiful. So to even say to someone that you're not beautiful, it's not, I don't think you can say that. I don't think that's liked in the eyes of Allah to say, oh, that girl is not beautiful or that's ugly, because you're talking about Allah's creation. So that's the wrong attitude. You can't even say that to yourself in the mirror. So me and Vanessa need to stop doing that.
And also, when you call someone or you use the word of ugly for someone,
Yeah.
you're basically saying that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's creation is not perfect. So you're doubting one of his attributes.
Yeah.
So you're becoming sinful in that sense. So yeah.
So we all need to start with that, I think, and stop criticizing yourself as well in the mirror, because you've been created by Allah. So you have to accept how Allah Almighty has made you. Next question is, what role can parents play to ensure that their children grow up to feel beautiful, and also that they know the importance of internal beauty? So what's the role of parents?
I think parents should tell time to time their children that they are beautiful and to accept themselves, and by helping them as well, like just randomly saying, oh, you look good or anything like that, it does encourage children, because children's self-esteem is really important.
It is very important.
And I think adding on to Sister Venice's point, you know, when we get praised at home, like on Eid, for example, when you're dressed up and you're looking really nice, and you know your parents are like, oh, you look very beautiful today. Maybe perhaps doing that more often, and also whilst commenting on physical beauty, also commenting on internal beauty. So if there's, you know, if they've done an action, for example, if there was a homeless person on the road and they've given them some charity, if they're praising them for it, you're encouraging them, and you know you're instilling that message in them, because they're more likely to repeat what you've encouraged them for, and you know it's going to stay in their head. So sort of just praising, I think
Sister Zarisha has made a really, really good point. It literally touched my heart.
That was the second part of the question, to talk about internal beauty.
Yeah, that you shouldn't only be...
if you could move closer to the mic so we can hear you.
You shouldn't only be talking about... when you praise your children, normally, I think in a normal household, you always say, oh, you look really cute, you look really pretty, or you look really beautiful, depending on how old you are. But then... you don't really find your parent telling you that, oh, you're very kind, you're very sweet to someone, or you have this certain type of characteristic in you which is really good and it stands out. We don't really remind them of internal beauty, hence they focus on external beauty only. And so that's a really good point.
I think parents do that, but they need to do that more often, where they're telling, so obviously, like Sister Aska said, encouraging them to work on their character. So even if they're not looking, you know, they're not dressed up the way they have to, and they want to go out, don't say, oh my God, you're looking ugly, let's not go out. You know, and obviously parents won't say you look ugly, but they'll be like, oh no, change your clothes first, wash your face first, then we're going, or brush your hair. Don't say that. Instead, you know, sometimes just take them like that, because you know it's you have to work on their inner self rather than their physical appearance, like we were talking earlier. So
but I think, just adding on to your point, not going too extreme with that either. So for example,
where you dirty basically.
You need to be presentable. I think you need to have that element of
being clean is part of Islam.
It's part of Islam. You have to be clean. I mean, you can't even pray without, you know, making sure that you are clean. You
can't even do your 5 times of prayers.
So obviously cleanliness is very important in Islam, and generally it's important. You need to be clean. Okay, so I think we don't have much time left. So the last question that we have is, what are some of the tips for those who are struggling with how they see their physical appearance? So if you could just leave some tips for all our listeners at the end that they can follow to, you know, feel better about themselves and know that they need to work on their internal self rather than their external self. So that's the focus.
I think under the light of Islam, like, because this is the final message we're giving. So I think we need to remember that whatever actions, you know, how we act physically, it reflects your representing Islam. So you know, when you're walking down the road and when you're speaking to someone, especially if, you know, for example, I have a hijab on, you can tell that I'm a Muslim. So the way I present myself, the way I speak to people and communicate with, whether that's a stranger or not, they will be able to tell. So you need to remember that with your internal beauty, it's that element of correct actions. And if you're just sort of trying to improve your practical life and improving your actions, then you're enhancing your internal beauty anyway. And I think that's one way to improve your internal beauty.
Yeah, Sister Vanessa, what tips can you give to someone who's not feeling that great about themselves? What is it that they can do so they know that their physical appearance doesn't really matter, it's their character?
The basic most tip I could give is just go in the mirror and tell yourself you're beautiful.
I think that's the starting point. That's the starting point.
You should remember that Allah's creator is the best, so why would Allah make you like ugly or anything?
Yeah.
So I just think you should remind yourself of like
So basically just reminding yourself constantly that, you know, it's not important, your physical appearance. Yeah.
For me, I do want to finish it off under the light of Islam as well.
Yeah.
So I've got a hadith and I've got references for it as well, because nowadays when we talk about any Islamic resource, you really need to give your references.
And I think it's right to do that.
Yeah, it's
because
right
people have been spreading wrong information that creates a wrong image of Islam. So it's important that everyone does that.
Yeah, so it's very important. Hence, I've got it on my phone.
Well done. Yeah, we did talk about this
in
in
class.
class.
In our class. So another reference back to our class. So it's things that you can learn
representing Al-Minhaj Institute.
Yeah, representing Al-Minhaj Institute.
So it's the hadith says, Allah's messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not observe your bodies and your forms, but he does observe your hearts. And this hadith is actually mentioned in one of the you know, there are different types of hadith. There's a strong hadith and there's a weak hadith. So this is one of the valid one, the authentic one. It's narrated by Sahih Muslim and Ibn Majah as well. So both of those are authentic sources of Islam. I think most of the people, most of sectors, I wouldn't want to mention sectors, a very controversial issue, but I have now. Most of the branches of Islam, everybody accepts those two references. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is basically reminding you through Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam as well, that you need to really, really focus on your inner self. Because at the end of the day, remembering that our bodies will just fade away. We're going to die at the end of the day. That everybody's going to die, no matter if you're Muslim or not. You're non-Muslim, you're going to die. Your battery is going to die. And you're going to end up in a grave. And all people are going to remember is how you behaved with them, if you were kind to them, if you used wrong words with them, if you swore at them, if you were bad to them, or your behavior wasn't that great, then they would just remember that, okay, this person, he used to hate me, or they would use sentences like that. And really, when you leave this world, you don't want to end up in a situation where people are remembering you with bad words. But when I say bad words, I mean unkind or really disrespectful or anything like that. You want to be remembered in good words, and that only can happen if you focus on your internal beauty in terms of how you treat others, your behavior towards others, and that starts from your house. I really want to focus on that as well. That starts from your house. We're very nice to other people, but most of the times we don't focus on our own siblings, we don't focus on our own brothers and sisters, our mother and father. We will ignore our mom and dad the whole day, and on Instagram or Snapchat, whatever, we'll be posting Happy Mother's Day or whatever you celebrate, and we don't really focus on that in terms of our actions. We really need to put that in practice as well.
I think that's right. And I just want to add to it, you know, if your friend calls you and she says, oh, can you come here quickly, you know, come to this shop, or I don't know, this place, this location, and get me something, or we're meeting up, you'll be more than happy because you want to impress them, and you'll do it. But if your parent or your sibling said, or your sister said, oh, you know, sister, can you just go and get me this, or brother, can you go and get me this, you don't want to do it. You're like, oh no, I'm lazy. But you know, we're wasting our energy in the wrong obviously friends are important, but you need to make sure that you putting in your energy with your relations as well.
Next week I'd just like to say, also advertising again, next week I think one of the topics for one of the groups is how do the words of my mum and dad affect me, and I'm sure
that's a
that
really
they
good
will be,
topic.
discussing this, so tune in for that, guys.
So I think I also, the tip that I want to give is that education is the most important thing. I want to conclude with, obviously in relation with Islam, I think Sister Aska mentioned a very good point, that parents need to make sure that they involve their children in Islamic knowledge, because if our creator is telling us, like in the hadith, Allah Almighty looks at your hearts, then the kids would never know that if they've never heard that from somewhere. So the parents need to send their kids, it's their responsibility to send them to institutes like Minhajul Quran or Minhaj Institute, where they can come and they can learn about Islam, so they understand what it is that really matters, and your ultimate purpose is the pleasure of Allah and the love of Allah. You need to include the love of Allah in your heart rather than the love of people. That's not what matters. All your relations, everything is because of Allah Almighty, and it should be because of Allah Almighty. That's how it was for Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Everything he did was because of for Allah Almighty. So we need to forget about all the the worldly matters, and remember the ultimate purpose of our creation, and know that it is Allah Almighty we're trying to impress. And the only way we can impress our Lord is, like Allah Almighty has said, and like Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said in the hadith, is through the working hard with your character and becoming a better person. Khadija, do you have any tips for all the people of your age who might think that they're not beautiful? What can they do to think that they are beautiful?
I think that I think they shouldn't think that, because it just makes them more and more upset. And, if you just, even if you're not, but even if you think that you're beautiful, it makes your heart more happy and more.
That's a very sweet tip.
That's a very sweet tip. You know, just thinking that makes you a happier person.
You feel lively and you want to live.
Yeah, I think that's a very, thank you, Khadija. That was really good, mashallah. And that's it for today from the Students of Knowledge. This program will be running tomorrow and until Thursday, so Monday to Thursday, 4 to 5. And like I said last Thursday, there'll be various topics. So we've discussed confidence. We discussed confidence last Thursday. Today we discussed beauty. There will be deen versus dunya, how the words of my parents affect me. So there's loads of topics that young people, not just young people, I feel like even older people, they need to understand this, and we need to talk about these topics so that in future generation, like we were saying earlier, they don't have to talk about these topics. We've already solved these issues, and I'm not saying through these shows, you know, the issues will be solved forever. But we want people to talk about it. So if they're talking about it, possibly we can find a solution to it. So in future generation, they're living in a happier place and they don't have to worry about all these pressures.
Also, maybe we can't have an impact on a bigger audience, but even if one person takes that seriously, and that one person applies it on their life, and then that one person will have their generation continuing, so this can actually pass down to their generation. So we've literally sorted one generation out. So it's a really good platform in that sense.
So one of the way to support the future generation is to donate. And like we were saying earlier, that Minhajul Quran and Minhaj Radio is getting a full-time FM license by Ofcam, so we really need to make sure that we remember that. And it's the blessed month, so donate as much as you can so that we can create this platform for young people where they're able to come and talk. And I think there's nothing better than that, where where people's voices are heard. That's it from us today. Jazakallah. Thank you so much for being here, all of you girls.
Thank you for hosting.
And thank you to all our listeners for being with us. Hopefully all of you, even if you didn't learn something, at least you thought about this topic and the importance of this topic. So thank you so much for being with us today. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow from 4 to 5. There are students from Al Minhaj Institute, some other students. They will be discussing another topic. So do not forget to tune in tomorrow, inshallah. Thank you so much for being with us. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.